Are you thinking about getting your real estate license in the state of Maine? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a complete step-by-step guide on how to get licensed, start your new real estate career. We're going to cover everything from your pre-license education requirements, how to get that completed. We're also going to talk about passing the real estate exam and giving yourself the highest odds of success. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to pick your first brokerage. So this video is going to cover the entire step-by-step game plan to get licensed and start your new real estate journey. So before we get started, my name is Chris. I've been a licensed real estate agent for many years, and I've helped hundreds of agents get started with this process and get their real estate license. Before we dive into this, I do want to tell you about our real estate license starter kit. Click the link down below, grab your copy of it. Everything in this video plus a lot more is inside that guide, so make sure to download your copy. Down in the description, you're also going to find a link to the real estate pre-license school that I personally recommend. The best part about it is it's affordable, it's flexible, it's convenient, and the most important thing is they have a pass or don't pay guarantee. What this basically means is if you take their pre-license education and you fail the exam within 30 days of taking that education, you don't pay. You can request a refund. So that's one of my favorite things about this school is they stand behind their work. So if you want to check them out, there is an affiliate link down below with different sales and discounts on their classes. So the very first step is making sure you meet the basic requirements to get licensed. The first thing is you must be 18 years old or older. You must have a high school diploma or a GED, and you must be a US citizen or legal resident. Another important thing to note is that you're going to be required to do a background check. Now, if there's something on your record that's potentially going to hold you back from getting licensed, I highly suggest you reach out to the Real Estate Commission. Have the conversation up front before you invest all this time into the process. Now, just because you have something on your record doesn't mean that you're disqualified from getting licensed. But if there is something that's concerning, you might want to have the conversation ahead of time before you invest all this time and energy. Step number 2 is completing your real estate pre-license education classes. In the state of Maine, you're required to complete 55 hours of state-approved pre-license education. Now, the most important thing to note here is that it has to be state-approved. You can't just take any old real estate classes and count that towards your 55 hours. Make sure you take classes through a state-approved school. You can take these courses online or in person. I personally suggest you take them online because it provides more flexibility, and 55 hours is a lot of time to be sitting in the classroom, especially if you have other things going on. If you already have a job or you have things that's going on with your family or your personal life, it's a lot of time to invest to drive back and forth to a real estate school, and that's the option that I would definitely do if I was doing this all over again. It's usually more affordable and it's very flexible. Once you complete your pre-license education, it's time to prepare to take your real estate exam. I highly suggest you take some time block, and really study before you schedule your exam. On the exam itself, you're going to find about 120 test questions. 80 of those questions are for the national portion of the exam, and 40 of those questions are state-specific questions to Maine. Now, you're going to need to pass this test with a 75% score or higher. So it's important that you take your time and study. A lot of people do fail the exam the first time around. Another important thing to note is that you're going to have to pass this exam with a 75% score or higher. So make sure you take studying seriously. Now, after you take your time to study, you can schedule this exam through Pearson VUE. Pearson VUE is the official testing center for Maine, and you're going to want to schedule at least 24 hours in advance. When you do schedule, they're going to tell you to bring a couple things on test day. The first thing is a basic non-scientific calculator for the math portion of the exam. The other thing to bring is 2 forms of identification. You can bring something like a passport, your driver's license, any credit cards with your information on it. These are all things that you could bring as forms of identification, but make sure to bring that on test day. Once you walk into the testing center itself, you're going to notice that you're going to have plenty of time to take the exam. That's the good news. A lot of people rush through this exam and they cause themselves to fail. But take your time, read each question multiple times before you submit your answer, and you should have a good probability of success as long as you took this seriously and you studied hard. Another important thing to note is that the test is multiple choice. Now, once you complete your exam, you're going to find out right away if you passed or failed. There's going to be no anxiety or no long waits to figure out if you're passing your exam or if you're going to have to retake this thing again. Now, if you failed the exam, don't stress it. So many people failed the exam. They retake it again, they pass, and then they go on to become very successful real estate agents. In fact, I know multiple people in the industry that failed the exam multiple times and now they're rock star agents. So don't think that if you fail the exam, you're going to be a bad agent. It's just simply not true. It just means you need to study harder and retake it. Now, if you did pass the exam, definitely take some time to celebrate because it's a big accomplishment and you've worked hard up until this point. Once you've passed, it's time to move on to step number 4, which is completing your background check and your fingerprinting. This is done through Identico and the results go directly to the Maine Real Estate Commission. Once you completed your background check, it's time to move on to step number 5, and that's applying for your real estate license. We're almost to the end of this process and you're close to getting your license now. This is the final step. So what we want to do now is we want to take your past real estate exam, which you completed and you passed and you got a great score on. We want to take your background check and we want to take your completed pre-licensed education classes that you completed at the beginning of this journey, package it all together with your real estate license application and send it off. Once we do that, it's time to move on to step number 6, which is finding your sponsoring broker. Now, I personally recommend that you interview with a couple different brokerages, and I want to give you a very specific set of questions to ask that I wish I knew when I first got started, because if you pick the wrong brokerage, it can lead you to a lot of frustration and a lot of stress. And a lot of agents end up failing because they didn't get the right mentor from the start. The very first thing I would ask is what kind of mentorship or support does your brokerage offer? Do I have someone that I'm going to be able to contact on a regular basis? Do you have classes that I can attend? What's going to be the routine? And when can I reach out to my mentor? Is it anytime, all the time, or is it only specific times and specific days? So make sure you ask that question, because the worst thing is when you finally find your first client or you get your first real estate deal, to have nobody there to help you through it. So make sure you ask that question. The second question is what kind of lead generation and marketing are they going to help you with, right? Most brokerages are not going to generate leads for you. They're not going to do your advertising for you, but they're going to teach you how to get clients. Some brokerages teach you to reach out to your friends and family. Others teach you to do social media marketing, and others tell you to prospect, call leads, call for sale by owners, call expired listings. And depending on your personality and what you want to do to grow your business, you have to find a brokerage that best aligns with what you're trying to build. So make sure to ask this question. Now, if you want leads and you want all the extra support, you can also apply for real estate teams. I myself have a real estate team, and we provide leads, training, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you ask the question when you're interviewing with brokerages, if there are teams that you can interview with. That's a very important question because you're usually going to get leads and all those things that new agents want with a real estate team. Now, the last question you're going to want to ask is, what are the commission splits? Now, I don't want to focus on this too much because when I first got started, this was like my main focus, and it was a huge mistake. And I actually got lucky because I found a good mentor that also had high splits, but that was just luck. The majority of the time, the higher commission split means less support. And if you're getting less support, then you're gonna have a hard time succeeding in this industry. It's already hard enough as it is. New agents have a very high failure rate, but you don't have to fail. Just make sure you ask the right questions and find a good mentor, and you're gonna have a much higher chance of success. Now, another big question that people ask when they're about to get their Maine real estate license is how much does it actually cost to get licensed? So I've crunched some numbers, and the number that I've come up with is about $500 to $800 to complete your whole process from start to finish to getting your license. So it's really not that costly to get started and complete this process, especially considering the upside potential of this career. There's a lot of upside and there's a lot of potential if you're willing to work hard and do the work. Another big question, how long does it actually take to get your Maine real estate license? Well, this is highly subjective, because some people are going to go at their own pace and go slower, while other people are going to be super aggressive, work really hard, and get it done a lot quicker. But my estimates, you can get this done in a reasonable amount of time. I would estimate anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks from start to finish. And the last question is, can you do this part-time? Can you become a part-time agent if you have a full-time job and you're just not ready to give up that income, or you have other things going on? And the answer is absolutely yes. There are many part-time agents in the market. Many start part-time and they keep their full-time job for that base income while they build their business. And others, just keep both income streams for a long time until their career takes off. So it's entirely possible to be a part-time agent and still have another career or other things going on. A lot of agents manage this successfully, and some agents even graduate to being full-time agents because they just love the industry so much once they get into it. Now, I want to give you some quick pro tips and mistakes to avoid. The very first thing is to start studying while you're going through your pre-license education. This is the perfect time to start studying. You want to start studying right while you're doing your classes and then study all the way until you actually take the exam. So many agents don't study enough, and this is why they fail. The next thing is use study tools. There are so many excellent study tools out there, and if you're trying to do this just by reading a textbook, it can get really boring and really dull quick, and that's one of the things that I personally didn't like about getting licensed. So I would highly suggest you use something like flashcards if you have a study buddy that you can work with, or use something like CompuCrim if you need a test-like simulator tool that can help you study. I love these tools because you can take the test, go through the simulation, and it will give you live feedback on what you're getting right, what you're getting wrong, and where you need to actually focus your attention and double down and study. This can increase the odds of passing tremendously. And the last tip is don't just join the first brokerage that offers you a spot. Make sure you interview with multiple brokerages and see what each one has to offer. If you go with the first brokerage, there's a chance that you're going to make a mistake. Let everybody put their cards out on the table and then pick the best one for you. So if you have questions about getting your real estate license, drop it in the comment section below. I'll do my best to get back to you and help you through it. And if you like this kind of content and you appreciated the video, smash the like button and subscribe because we have more content coming your way all about getting licensed and jumpstarting your real estate career. Thanks again for tuning in and have a great day.